Welcome back to a brand new episode of Gen Z BTC. It's me, Satoshi Guapamoto. And today I wanted to start by saying thank you all so much for 1,000 subscribers. This is insane, but there's so much more to come. All right. I'm doing a 1,000 subscriber special sometime this week, and it is going to be the most value packed Bitcoin video on YouTube. Right? More than Bitcoin University, more than any other Bitcoin video. I truly do believe that. That's what I'm trying to do. Right? But today is not just about Bitcoin. Today, we are going to talk about MicroStrategy. This is the greatest speculative attack on the dollar. This is the greatest trade of all time. This makes George Soros look like a dork. It makes Warren Buffett look like a dork. Michael Saylor is the greatest CEO of all time, full stop. This is the biggest, most valuable company in the entire planet right now. I've already dropped like 3 videos on this, so we cannot continually just keep covering MicroStrategy. Like, I don't want to be a channel that's just making videos about what's hot right now. I want to actually give some value. So hopefully this is the last time we have to cover this. And I'm going to try to keep this as simple as possible. All right. If you need more details and more information, you have to do some of your own research. I would highly suggest watching some of Michael Saylor's keynotes, some of his presentations, and the MicroStrategy earnings calls. Okay. I'm going to put a link to one of the videos right here. Don't click it yet. You need to watch this one first, but watch that afterwards. I'm telling you right now, that's one of the most important videos maybe ever released when it comes to MicroStrategy, and it's from the horse's mouth. So with that being said, I got a couple notes here. We're just going to go down the list of some of the things that people have been saying, right? The first thing is the MNAV, right? Basically the assets that MicroStrategy holds. They've got about 30, 40 billion in Bitcoin, right? But the market cap of the company is 100 billion. There's some people who think that the amount of assets they have under management and the valuation of the company should be equal, right? They don't do this to any other companies though. They only do this to MicroStrategy. And it's because they don't like Bitcoin and they're just not thinking straight, all right? They're not using their brains, okay? First off, let's talk about Microsoft and Apple, okay? The problem with this idea, and ExxonMobil, we'll throw ExxonMobil in there. Microsoft isn't valued on all of the software they have out in the world. Like, because you can't even value that, okay? Some of that is intellectual property. Again, some of that is software. Some of that's proprietary. Some of that stuff, let's say with Apple. Some of that's name brand. Some of Apple's value is the name brand. Apple phones literally sell at a premium because it has an Apple logo on it. There's a certain level of pristineness that comes with an Apple phone, right? An Apple product. It's kind of lost some of that esteem in recent years, but regardless, most people will literally make fun of you and try to say that you're poor if you have an Android, right? They're like, oh, well, he's too broke to afford an iPhone. Like, they don't even know what they're talking about, but they're in an echo chamber, right? They're inside of this little Apple cult, right? So that is part of the valuation of Apple. Okay, ExxonMobil, they basically drill oil and then they like sell it. They refine crude oil, turn it into gasoline, and then they go do that. They also sell like other crude oil based products. Are they just valued on the oil that they have right now? No, they're valued based on future valuation. How much more oil is ExxonMobil going to be able to drill? How much of the oil market is ExxonMobil going to be able to capture? Okay. How much of the phone market is Apple going to be able to maintain and capture? Okay. How much more great software can Microsoft come up with and then get implemented into multiple businesses framework, right? Like, they're not just based on, oh, well, they have this many iPhones in the world, and I guess that's the valuation of the company now. Like, no, that doesn't make sense at all. Companies are forward looking. Like, look up what markets are and how they work. Markets are forward looking. You don't buy Apple because of how many profits they have today. You buy Apple because of how many profits they're going to have in the future. That's why companies are always trying to grind and figure out a way to grow. Okay. So MicroStrategy's valuation is not based on the Bitcoin they have right now. It's based on the Bitcoin they're going to continually acquire. Like, just let that sink in. Like, let that silence hit for a second. They're based on the amount of Bitcoin they're going to be able to acquire as we go into the future. They keep buying more Bitcoin than anyone else, and Bitcoin is the most valuable asset on Earth because it is the only finite thing on Earth. Understand this. These are really deep concepts, okay? You're going to have to probably do some more research. Bitcoin's the only finite thing on Earth. Oh, what about beachfront property? Beachfront property is finite. Look up what they did in Abu Dhabi. Okay, look at what they're doing out there. They're literally building islands and then putting houses on them. Okay, that's not special. That's not special. They're only going to get better at doing that, by the way. Well, I mean, I don't know. There's all sorts of different stuff that's rare, like gold. You're going to keep finding gold in the ground forever, pretty much. We haven't even mined all the gold that's underneath the ocean floor. Wait until we start getting at that gold. Oh, what about diamonds? You can create diamonds in a lab. You know what I mean? Like, Bitcoin's the only finite thing on Earth. Like, understand that, first off. Then understand, what's MicroStrategy doing, right? They're essentially leveraging debt intelligently, right, with extremely low interest rates. That means that they're borrowing fake money, which is US dollars. US dollars are fake money, right? They're printed out of thin air, and they're only have value due to the decree of the government. That's called fiat, right? They're taking fake money to buy real money. That's about as simple as it gets. And as more people start to realize, oh, wait a minute, US dollars are fake money, you're probably going to run into an issue where the company with all the real money has all the real value. And all the companies with all the fake money that are only valued in dollars are going to be in very, very big trouble. Okay. Forward looking, right? Other financial products that they might offer. And again, future valuation, right? It's not just the amount of stuff that they currently have. Now, here's the very interesting thing, right? Here's the extremely interesting thing. How is MicroStrategy able to continually borrow debt and keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and buy more Bitcoin? This looks like a pyramid scheme, right? It's going to collapse any day now, right? The problem is they have two means of generating more income, three means really. But as of right now, they really have two. So what they can do is they're issuing Bitcoin-backed bonds, okay? MicroStrategy-backed bonds. Who wants to buy bonds? Nobody. Nobody wants to buy bonds. They suck. Especially US-backed bonds. US-backed bonds only go up like 2%, 3%. They're horrible, and you only buy bonds if you want to be poor. Simple as that. No more talking necessary. But what if you were able to sell someone a bond that was backed by the equity of your company, the value of your company, the value of your Bitcoin, right? There are certain people who cannot, like they literally cannot buy Bitcoin. They cannot buy it. It's illegal currently. They cannot buy it. They cannot buy an ETF. So what do? They go out to the bond market, okay, and they're trying to find fixed income instruments, right? They're trying to find something that is bond-like. That's where MicroStrategy comes in. They're issuing convertible notes. That means that someone who is forced to buy bonds, let me give you a list of people who are forced to buy bonds, by the way, pension funds, insurance companies, central banks, fixed income mutual funds, endowments and foundations, regulated investment accounts such as 401ks and some IRAs, and sovereign wealth funds, okay? These are just some of the people who are forced to buy bonds. They can't really buy other stuff. So these mega players, by the way, these are not small. Sovereign wealth funds and, endowments and central banks and insurance companies. Yeah, they're not small. They're not small fries. Okay. They got a lot of money and they have to put it somewhere. Typically, they're forced to hold toxic sludge, which is US treasuries that go down over time because real inflation is 7%. And if you're getting a yield of 3%, that means you're losing 4% per year, only 4%. Good for you. Good for you, little buddy. You're only losing 4%. With a MicroStrategy-backed convertible bond, right? A Bitcoin-backed convertible bond. These bonds are literally yielding more than Bitcoin itself, okay? Because it's slightly pegged to the percent gain of the company, right? The percent gain of MicroStrategy. You understand what I'm saying? Let me get some chalk. Let's draw. Let's draw right now. Here's your typical bond, right? It's flat. It's completely flat. It sucks. Here's inflation. Okay, you're losing money. This right here, this gap, that's the you going broke gap. Here's MicroStrategy's convertible notes. Oh, so this is the I get rich gap. Okay? Everyone wants to be in this gap. No one wants to be in this one. Okay? That's the loser gap. So MicroStrategy is not only destroying inflation, they're destroying entire other companies. They're literally buying a bond. The convertible note cannot go negative. Like it literally can't go negative unless they agree to that rate. Right now, the rates are like 1%. So no matter what, the people who buy this convertible note are guaranteed 1%. Even if MicroStrategy dips 50% and they're down 50% on the year or whenever the notes mature, right? Some of these mature in like 2029, but they're converting them early because they're just so happy with the gains, right? So they stand no downside. Literally, there's no downside. You're a guaranteed 1%. But the upside is a percentage of MicroStrategy's valuation, right? Some of these bonds are up 50%, 60%, 100%. So then they convert the bonds and now they're happy. Oh my God, I made so much money. That's easy. You know what? I want to do it again. So MicroStrategy issues more debt. They say, hey, we're raising money. We're going to do 1.75 billion in convertible bonds at 0% interest. That means that the people who are buying them don't have any vision in the future where they see MicroStrategy going down. They see their bonds maturing and their bonds being worth so much more in the future. So they're willing to take them on at 0%. All right. They raised 2.6 billion to do that. The next note offering that they do, which will probably be later this year, probably in December, they're probably going to have negative rates, meaning that now they're taking on a slight downside risk, which will never materialize because MicroStrategy is buying real money. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, let's put it another way. What you have to understand is, oh my God, I'm running out of chalk. Look at this little nub. Look at this little nub, bro. Here is Bitcoin as the baseline, right? Here's Bitcoin. This is the Bitcoin baseline. This is MicroStrategy. The company is performing and they're buying more Bitcoin and they're going up and down. Here are all the companies with no Bitcoin, right? So Bitcoin's going up in value and MicroStrategy is providing value, not only with its software business, but also by taking on more debt to buy more Bitcoin. Other companies that have no Bitcoin, what they have to try to do is they have to try to be like Nvidia. They have to try to be like a super mega company. They need to be bigger than the Magnificent Seven just to beat Bitcoin. Okay, they can't beat MicroStrategy. They can barely tread water. This is Bitcoin. They're barely treading water. Then all the companies that are not performing as good as Nvidia, what happens to them? They start going down relative to Bitcoin. Bitcoin is the new baseline. Bitcoin is the new measuring stick. Bitcoin is the new meter of value. If you're not beating Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin is the new cost of capital. What does that mean? That means that Bitcoin is the new baseline, okay? Because all you have to do with Bitcoin is buy it and hold it, all right? And then you get a guaranteed bare minimum 30% APY, all right? That's a low ball, by the way. Currently, we're like at 60%. But if you're not beating the cost of capital, if you're not beating holding something and doing nothing, right, then why would they take on the risk of investing in your company? Why would you do that? Okay, why would I invest in your company if I have to take on risk that your company might fail and you're not going to do more than 30% every single year for the next 15 years? Why would I invest in you? You're not even beating the cost of capital. You're not even beating my savings account. Bitcoin is your high yield savings account. Most companies are treading water. Sorry. Not most. Few. Nvidia, Microsoft, Apple, okay, Facebook, Netflix, they're barely treading water, okay? They can barely keep up with Bitcoin. Most of them are underwater when it comes to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's up like 150% just this year. So if your company's not up 150%, that means that there's opportunity costs. I'm losing money by not holding Bitcoin because I'm holding your stupid little worthless biomed company. Okay, I'm losing money because I'm holding Walmart and Walmart's only going up 100% and Bitcoin went up 150%. You know what I mean? And I have to run the risk that Walmart has some sort of, bad press release, some sort of thing with the CEO. Maybe the marketing team messes something up, like on some Target type beat. All right, Target had a bad marketing strategy that made their stock tank for a little while. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to take on that risk of that company getting ransacked by a bunch of people and they keep stealing all your stuff. And then the insurance companies don't want to continually insure all your products. And now you're losing money even more. Like Bitcoin has no risk. Bitcoin is de-risked. There's a lot of people who don't understand Bitcoin. They think, it's too risky, it's too volatile, it's too whatever. First off, volatility is the lifeblood of any company. If there's no volatility, that means you have a bond. That means that your company is a bond. There's no volatility. You suck. All right. Why do you think Amazon, Facebook, Tesla, Apple, Meta got so big? They were highly volatile, especially in the beginning. Then all the money floods in and then it kind of chills out, kind of baselines out. Right now, only 3% of the world owns Bitcoin. What do you think is going to happen when more of the world owns Bitcoin? The price is going to gap up insanely high, very fast, very violently. But once everybody's already in it, then we kind of chill out. You want to get in before it's chill. All right. That's the first thing. Then next, Bitcoin's risky to people who don't understand what it is. You know what I mean? Bitcoin is de-risking the equity market. You know what I mean? Okay, what's the end game of all this? Okay, I've been rambling on long enough. Microstrategy raises debt using fixed income instruments, right, to buy a bunch of Bitcoin. They can also issue equity, right? Meaning they can sell shares. They can print shares and then sell them on the market. There's so much liquidity and there's so much volume that them selling shares doesn't even move the price anymore. Because Wall Street Bets is here. I've been called an idiot on Wall Street Bets all week this week. And I love it. I love it. All these people telling me, oh, I'll see you in a year, little bro. Can't wait for this pyramid scheme to fall apart, little bro. Please come back in a year. Come back in a year and then I can rub it in your face even more. And then I can ask you a very simple question. How'd that work out for you, little buddy? How'd that work out for you, little buddy? That's crazy. I was literally trying to give you free advice. And you turn your nose up at me? Like, anyways, they are able to sell shares on the market and then people in Wall Street Bets who are supporters, right? People like BlackRock who own a big amount of MicroStrategy can buy up those sold shares. They're soaking those up so quickly that the market's not even moving. Then, by selling shares, MicroStrategy has more cash on hand, more fake money. They then take the fake money and they buy real money and they buy Bitcoin. Then what happens? The price of Bitcoin goes up, right? Because they just dumped a bunch of fake money into it. The price of Bitcoin goes up, right? Because there's not enough sellers to meet the amount of buying demand that they're putting out there. And this flywheel just continues going. You sell as much fake money as you can. You take on as much debt as you can because it's not real. It's all fake money. And then you put it into real money, okay? And you try to hold your real money securely. The real money is your baseline. Bitcoin is your baseline. So that's already propping your company up. And you're getting more and more valuation because the future outlook of your company is that you're going to continue to get more fake money to buy real money. All right? They're trying to price in MicroStrategy having 1 million Bitcoin and then the price of Bitcoin being at 1 million per coin. That's what they're trying to price in. They're not pricing in the fact that they have 300K and it's currently worth 90K. No one cares about that. Anyone with a forward-looking vision who understands what's happening here is that MicroStrategy is a black hole. They're absorbing all the fake dollars and they're converting them into real money, which is Bitcoin. That's the simplest explanation that I can give for this, okay? What's coming up for MicroStrategy? They're about to be included in the QQQ, which is like the NASDAQ, right? It's a tech kind of giant index. And then they're going to be included in the S&P 500 at some point in 2025. Right? Based on the fair value accounting rule change that takes place in 2025, January, right? If you want to learn more about this stuff, then you have to check out like the Quant Bros. Quant Bros, those guys are absolutely legends. They saw this stuff way before anyone else. This is the roaring kitty of MicroStrategy, right? These guys are literally like, this is GameStop on steroids, except GameStop was not as compelling of a story, right? It was the little guys trying to go against the hedge funds, and that's cool, but guess what? The game was rigged, and that was a controlled system. No one controls Bitcoin, which means no one can turn it off, which means no one can stop what is happening here. Like, it is what it is. I'm just here to tell you the facts, all right? This is insane. No one can stop this. Now, here's the mind-blowing part. You thought the whole video was mind-blowing? This is the mind-blowing part. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe because this is literally this is insane. What we could witness, right? We could witness the end of all bear markets. We could witness the end of all bear markets. I'm going to go more in depth in this in another video, but just based on MicroStrategy alone, they're issuing 42 billion to buy a bunch of Bitcoin over the next 3 years. That's enough to keep the floor price above 100,000 by themselves. That's one buyer. That doesn't include all the ETFs, which all collectively hold more than 1 million. That doesn't include people like me and people like you who are dollar cost averaging every single day, buying more Bitcoin. That doesn't include all the millionaires who don't even talk about having Bitcoin, who buy it every single day. All right. But then here's the crazy part. Let's say MicroStrategy starts to collapse. People start selling MicroStrategy to buy Bitcoin, right? Because they think, oh, it's getting too big. I'm scared. They sell MicroStrategy at the top, right? It's worth so much. They have all this cash. But what are you going to cycle into? There's nothing better. There's no other stock that's better. This is the number one stock in the world, period. Go look at the percentage. So what are you going to transition into out of MicroStrategy? Right? Well, maybe you'll transition into something a little bit safer like Bitcoin, right? So you transition and you sell your MicroStrategy stock and you buy Bitcoin. MicroStrategy stock comes down, Bitcoin's price comes up because you're taking MicroStrategy and you're buying Bitcoin, okay? But then because Bitcoin's price went up, MicroStrategy's price dip then goes back up because you just pumped the price of Bitcoin. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit hype. But do you see what I'm saying here? Not only are they going to blow through the entire 42 billion just in the next 6 months, they said they were going to blow it all by 2028, 2027. No, they're blowing it all this year and the beginning Q1 of 2025. Okay. Once they blow through that, they're going to go back to the market and be like, hey, you know what? You guys love our convertible notes. We want to raise 50 billion just in convertible notes. And you know what? We're going to sell another 50 billion in equity. Okay? That's 100 billion that they're about to dump into Bitcoin. That's not possible. That's not possible. They just did 42 billion. That's when their company was worth 20 billion. Do you understand? Their company's now worth 100 billion. They're in the top 100 biggest companies in the world. They jumped over like 300 other companies in about a month. They're going to be number one in about maybe like 3 years. Probably going to be number one in about 3 years. So when that happens, they're going to be able to take on so much debt and do this speculative attack on the dollar to buy a bunch of real money. This is insane. No one has ever seen anything like this. That's the problem. All these guys with PhDs who pretending like they're professors. I mean, they are actually professors, but pretending like they know what they're talking about. They're like, well, this can't happen because of this, this, and this. Sorry, dude. What you're using is conventional thinking. When you're a conventional thinker and not a divergent thinker, right? That means that you miss the paradigm shift. You miss what's happening right in front of your face. Instead of accepting reality and realizing that, oh, wait a minute, everything that I was taught in school was actually wrong. I've been lied to my whole life. I don't know what's going on, right? That takes a certain level of humility, taking your blinders off. The issue is you went to school and you went into debt for that degree, so you got to stick by that. There's no way that was wrong. I paid way too much. I paid way too much money for it to be wrong. I got bad news, right? There's so many people who are just lost at this amazing trade. This is changing the financial markets forever. What's the end game of this? I'm going to be honest with you. I can't say for sure. I can't predict the future. But the end game that I'm envisioning is that Microstrategy, as well as all other equities, stop being priced in dollars because it's just stupid. And then they start pricing them in Satoshis. They start pricing everything in Bitcoin. Your companies are now priced in Bitcoin. They're not priced in dollars. Why don't we price our stocks in the pound sterling? Why don't we price our stocks in the euro? Why don't we price our stocks in like Zimbabwe's currency? Because those aren't the global reserve currencies. No one cares about those other currencies. They suck. All right. Bitcoin is the next global reserve currency. It's the next global reserve asset. Everything will be denominated in Bitcoin because, like I said here, Bitcoin's the new baseline. If you're not doing just Bitcoin, if you're not beating Bitcoin, then you're losing. Your opportunity cost is way too high. Why would anyone hold anything else? My closing statement here is it doesn't even make sense to hold anything else. Anything that is below the line doesn't make sense to hold it. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense to invest in it. So then what ends up happening is all the money exit those other companies that are losing to Bitcoin, and then they go into companies that are beating Bitcoin or that have a lot of Bitcoin on their balance sheet, or they just go straight into Bitcoin itself because there's no reason to invest in your sucky dying company if you can't even beat the cost of capital. It is what it is, right? You're going to get eaten alive by inflation and you're not going to be able to stop this train. That's really all I have to say. Hopefully that's the last time I have to speak on MicroStrategy for now. I do think it's amazing. I do have a Michael Saylor video dropping, but I'm trying to make it like actually good. And I'm a one-man show. I don't have like an editor. You know what I mean? I can't like pay some Vietnamese guy to like edit a video for me for $5. I probably could, but I don't really want to do that. You know what I mean? So I got to try to do that. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for subscribing, dude. 1,000. Let's get to 10K, man. This is insane. And I just want to make better content for you guys and put more love and effort into it. But it's hard because I work 50 hours a week and I hate my job. So trying my best. Hopefully you learned something here. Use some of my resources in the description. Again, if you want to learn more, not just about MicroStrategy, but about Bitcoin. And I will see you guys on the next video. Shout out to all the Wall Street bets guys. All of you guys will have fun staying poor. So congratulations if you end up watching this. So thank you so much for watching, everyone. Stack sats or die trying. I'll see you in the next video.